Looking for your next unforgettable RV adventure? Discover the magic of Harvest Hosts, 9,000 farms, wineries, breweries, golf courses, and attractions across North America. Right now, you can save 20% off your annual membership with code Harris20 at checkout. Imagine swapping crowded campgrounds for peaceful nights at apple orchards, sipping wine at family-run vineyards, or relaxing at a scenic brewery. All with no camping fees for your first night at each host.
We just love the experiences. We never book ahead of time. We just kind of like, okay, where are we going to go today? And we kind of look on the map and look at the Harvest Host.
This is the best bargain we've ever had. And that's why we love Harvest Host.
We do everything from churches to breweries to farms
airports.
To airports.
For RVers, if you're thinking about it, you definitely need to add this to your membership program.
Yep. Use code Harris20 for 20% off at harvesthouse.com. Listen to the podcast, and we'll see you out on the road.
This is the Deron Harris Podcast. Here's your host, Deron Harris.
Hey, what's up, y'all? How you doing? Welcome back to the show. Thank you for joining me this week. I really do appreciate you. My name is Deron Harris. This is the Deron Harris Podcast. Look, last week, I got the results of a DNA test that I took and found out that I have Portuguese and Spanish lineage in my DNA chain, in my DNA strand. I took an African ancestry test to try and determine my African origins and my African roots, and I went through my dad's side, and it told me that there were no African men on this side of my this side. I mean, I guess that's just what it said. No, and this was supposedly traced back 500 to 2,000 years. Now, I'm not, saying anything negative. As a matter of fact, if you want to hear more about it, you can go back to the previous episode. But what I'm talking about today is what are the next steps. I'm really trying to find my heritage. I'm really trying to find my lineage. I'm really trying to find out where my people came from. And a lot of people seem to think that that's not important, but to me, it is very important. It's very important for me to know where my people originated from, because it wasn't here. It wasn't here. It wasn't this landmass. Maybe it was, but looking at my lineage, now I see that there is Spanish lineage and Portuguese lineage, and we all know what that's from. And now I'm curious. So that's what I'm talking about today, about what my next move is going to be. But first, I want to jump into a quick, fast mental health check for everybody. How you feeling, man? How you feeling? Are y'all doing okay? There are a lot of things that are going on in the world right now, and I got to tell you, as a person that suffers from major depressive disorder and anxiety, there are some things in the world that are giving me some major anxiety. I'm starting to feel some major anxiety. So I'm back in therapy. I had stopped for a while. I felt good enough, but I'm back in therapy because, like I said, things are creeping up on me. I'm starting to have some severe anxiety about some things, and some of the things are things that, well, most of them are things that I can't, if not all of them, things I can't control, and that's probably one of the things that gives me the most anxiety. But like I said, I'm back in therapy, and I want to encourage anybody out there who is feeling this way to go out and seek help. There's plenty of professional help out there, and they are ready to help you. They're willing to help you. And there are some programs that you can get involved in that are just designed and made to help people get through rough patches of anxiety in their lives. So don't deny yourself. Please do yourself a favor, and if you're feeling any kind of anxiety or any kind of depression or anything like that, please go out and get help, man, because you are loved and you are needed and you are worth every single minute of it. So I just wanted to get that out there. So I'm talking about today. I don't want to say potluck. If you can hear the rooster in the backyard, good morning, everyone. Today I'm talking about. Look, I guess I kind of wanted to call it a potluck of stuff, but I did that already with my nephew a couple weeks ago. But it's more or less about a journey. I guess this journey that I'm on. I'm on a journey, and I can't really describe it as anything else but that. I'm trying to figure out and trace back my heritage. My original heritage, not my heritage from the slave masters and where I came from and, where my family was, brought to. And but I want to know where the family that was brought here, where did they come from? That's where were they at? What were their days like before, this happened? Because I, in my opinion, I think that's very important to be able to go and connect with that part of who I am, because a landmass is very much a part of who we are. These people who have come here and colonized this place, they came from a landmass. They didn't come from this one, but they came from a specific landmass. And they are proud to trace that heritage back. They're extremely, eager to say, well, I'm Italian American, I'm Irish American, extremely proud, of that. And they know where they come from. Oh, my family is the such and such of this, and we're the blah, 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 the clan from the clan of such and such. We don't... Black Americans, we don't know that about ourselves. And it's something that increasingly has gotten to be a thorn in my mind. I really would like to know. So I took a ancestry test, an African ancestry test a couple of weeks ago. Well, like 3 months ago. And last week I did a podcast about the results, and the results, they came back, not exactly what I was expecting from my father's side of my ancestry. And it's not that I necessarily don't believe it. It's just that I believe that there are missing pieces, because my father's clearly African. And they're saying basically from generation to generation to generation that all the men, all the African men in my family are from this one European man. And that's cool. I mean, but is it just that? Or is there more to this story? And I believe that there is more to this story. Of course there is, because I'm clearly a black person. I'm clearly of African descent. So somewhere along the lines in my family, I mean, I guess it's got to be my mother's side, because if my mother's side comes back, and I don't have, then I don't know what to say. And people say, it's quite possible you might come back with non-African ancestry. And, okay, but in a clearly African person, on my father's side, I did, that's the thing. It was on my father's side. So on my father's side, there had to have clearly have been some African people, African men that were in that DNA somewhere. It had to be, because my father. And my father's black. His father is, have you seen you haven't seen my grandfather, but he's a pretty dark-skinned man, or was. The great man that he was. He's a pretty dark-skinned man. There's clearly, Africans in my family. So I want to know where. And like I said, there are some people who don't necessarily think that it's important to know. or important to keep that strand of reality, if you will, that strand of connection, or that tether of connection to that, I guess, to that place, to that. There are people that don't think it's necessary for me to connect with the original place where my people come from. They don't feel that to be, hugely important. I was called a racist by one of, the most important people in my life, one of my best friends in the world, called me a racist because I have actively chosen to support my people in this time and, in this time and age, especially politically, and I'm doing it not necessarily, I'm doing it to make a stand against the establishment, but also B, to support my people, because we are disenfranchised. We are disenfranchised people. And my friend has a hard time understanding that or identifying with it. That's fine. I don't need him to identify or care. I've always, I've already, had this discussion, and I've already had a couple of podcasts about it, and I don't feel like I need to go any deeper about, his and I's, our disagreements about, certain issues concerning race. I don't feel I need to go there anymore. But, there are people who do have a similar ideology where they don't believe that, our particular contributions should be recognized or highlighted or exaggerated, or not necessarily exaggerated, but pointed out. As we're all here together, and I did this too, and I had to struggle, and all this. They just feel like these things should not be pointed out, and I think that they 100% should be pointed out. And because of that, it drives a rift. It has driven a rift. Effectively, I have not talked to this person now, I guess, verbally in about a month. And the thing about it is I am prepared to hold my ground. I am 100% prepared to hold my ground, because it is something that I truly and honestly believe in. I believe it is important for all of us in this in this day and age, in this country, that are born of people that were brought here. All of us need to know where we are from. A sense of connection is needed in our communities, and that is where it is. There's been billions of dollars spent to keep us fragmented and fighting each other. Billions of dollars. We have to figure out a way to combat that. And I think that a lot of that way is to trace back where we're from, where we came from. What was our culture like? What was it actually like? Because some of those cultures exist today. They're still there. They're still in these places that our people were taken from. So wherever that is, wherever that may be, I think it's very important, because we have relatives there. There are people there that could possibly and quite potentially be our actual kinfolk. And that ties us to a place. That ties us to that place. That gives us a sense of history. That goes back further. That goes back further. You get what I'm saying? I think it's a very important thing, man. And believe it or not, there are some of us, some black folks, who don't think that, I'm from Philadelphia, this is where I come from, I ain't never stepped foot in Africa a day in my life. I don't give a fuck about the motherfuckers over there anyway. That you hear that. I hear that a lot. And it's very dismissive of who you are as a person. It's very dismissive, because that's where you actually come from. You don't come from Philadelphia. You don't come from Philly. I'm sorry to break it to you, but that's not where your lineage or your people or your origin is from. It's just not from there. And I think people in our community need to start understanding the connection that we have to, I mean, some people do. They go, my mother goes back. My mother's in Africa. I can't not lie to you. She's in Africa like 6 to 8 to 10 times a year. She goes back constantly. But she goes to preach, preach the gospel. And that's, that's fine. That's what she wants to do. And that's what makes her happy. But for me to be over there, if I were her, I would want to know where my roots came from. Where did I come from? I'm over here all the time. Maybe I can go by my village. Maybe I can go by the people that, that look like me. I might have a cousin here or actual family here. I might have a tie of some sort here. That brings unity to our people. Across water, that brings a complete picture to us. That gives us a complete picture. We've come full circle. To find out, it's like I said, it's like coming full circle. Going through the hardest thing in the world and being returned back to the place of where you originated from. And a lot of us will definitely look at it like it's alien. But a lot of us, I believe, we will embrace it like it is home. Because I think that's what it's meant to be. What's my next move is what this podcast is about. I've already gone over why it's important for us to connect, to try and connect, at least a little bit. But for me, in my journey, what is my next step? What am I going to do? Or, I will tell you what I have decided that I'm going to do. After, there are several pages. There are several things out there that you can look up. There are several resources that are out there. There's a website I think I covered on my last, I kind of touched on it a little bit called, on my last podcast, it's called DNAweekly.com. And it has a list of different DNA tests. And I know that people are like, oh, don't give up your DNA right now. But I really want to know. And in this time, especially, with what's going on in the world, especially towards, marginalized people, people of color, and black people in particular. Donald Trump has canceled all the visas for every African country. He doesn't want Africans in the United States. And the ones that are here now, me, I am feeling less safe in this environment. And it's important for me to find out because I wouldn't mind going to see. I wouldn't mind going to see if this is where I belong. I belong in Africa. I belong here. I belong because I came from here. It's not that I want to cut off my ties completely from the United States, and I would never want to do that. But to make the original connection is what I guess now in my latter years, not that I'm like elderly or anything like that. Now in my older age, I'm having a longing for that connection, that actual grounding, to be able to go and, kiss the ground that my people from 5,000 years ago walked on. That's heavy shit. And it's a very powerful thing, and I think it's a thing that triggers internal love. It triggers the internal love for not just myself, but for the rest of black people, the rest of blackness. And I already have that infinite love. And I know we are, we flawed, y'all. We are flawed people. Don't front like we not. Don't front. We kings and queens. Yeah, we fucked up too in the game. But it doesn't mean that I love my people any less. I love them I love my people, man. Let me just say that. I love my people. I love my people. I love all people, but I love my people. I love being black. I love my nappy ass hair, my big ass lips, and my motherfucking nostrils. I love my people. And we deserve better. We deserve each other. We deserve that love that I feel for all black people out there. All black people need to have what I feel for other black people. That's what I think. Now, people have always said, that we need to get over shit, and stop talking about shit. Why you always talking about it, just forget about it. Why can't we just not talk? And let me remind you, and I'm not digging at the Jewish population. I'm not digging at Jewish people, but we always need to remember the Holocaust. We always need to remember that. Nobody, as a matter of fact, we have memorials to it and all kinds of shit. And we always are told, man, we can't forget the Holocaust, the atrocities that these people suffered. And that's nothing to take away from them. They suffered greatly. I take nothing away from that. And I think what they suffered is horrible. I think what is absolutely horrible. But I think that what we suffered is on a scale beyond measure. I don't really think there's lots of things that can hold a fucking candle to it. But still, we're told to forget it, and we're told to let it go and not talk about it. And why can't we just get past it? Because it makes people feel uncomfortable. And, I can see where it would make some people uncomfortable, but I do not see where we need to forget it. Because, again, if you do forget, that means you are destined to repeat it, if you forget. So that is why you remember the Holocaust. Because they don't want to repeat that. But they want us to forget about what we went through because, I don't know, I guess subliminally they want us to go back to what that was. And I say, anybody out there talking about it, continue to talk about it. I talk about it. I'm Mr. Tough Questions. That's my middle motherfucking name now. Mr. Tough Questions. Mr. Tough Answers. That's my middle name. Deron, Mr. Tough Questions, Mr. Tough Answers, Harris. And ask me, I tell anybody, ask me whatever you want to. Ask me how I feel about it. Ask me how I feel about it. You see, my friend, it's obvious how he feels about it. He's extremely bothered, just annoyed by it. It annoys him. The talking about it. It's annoying to him. Why does it always gotta be it annoys, but it doesn't annoy me. It doesn't annoy me to talk about race. It doesn't annoy me to talk about racism. It doesn't annoy me to talk about the things that have happened to my people in this country. It doesn't annoy me at all. It makes me want to search for more meaning, more answers, more connection. Pick up the pieces. I want to go back. And if I can't go back physically, I can at least go back in my mind. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I can one day go back physically to my place of origin. What my friend doesn't realize is that his place of origin isn't where he was born here in these States. That's not his place of origin. His family's place of origin. His family's place of origin is someplace in Europe. He's European. And whatever he is, whatever, and I don't know, but he's a white guy, from Europe. And that's okay, man. I don't have no problems with that. I don't have no problems with you tracing back the fact that you might be Irish or you tracing back the fact that you might be Scottish. I don't give a fuck about that. As a matter of fact, cool, great. If you want to go visit, oh man, I went back and I found my family's crest. All that excitement surrounded around Europeanism, being European and having this lineage. We don't have that. We don't have that. And what's wrong with us looking for it? What's wrong with us standing up on, hey, man, this happened to us here? Because we got to remember. We have to remember. We have to remember that it happened. It's burned. I don't even think black people would forget if they try. They can try to take it out of schools all they want. They can take it out of all the schools they want. But every atrocity that they commit towards black people is chronicled. It doesn't need to be written down. It is chronicled by the eyes that see it, by the eyes that have seen it. That's why all these whitewashed European stories that we learned in history class, that's why all the truth is coming out now, is because more information is available and other motherfuckers saw the shit happen too. Simple as that. So no matter how hard they try to suppress this information, why do we keep talking about it? Why do we got to keep going over this? And it makes them so angry that they lash out. And it becomes about them. And it becomes about their feelings. It becomes about how they cope, how they're made to feel without even considering how I'm made to feel. It's not even about you. It didn't happen to your ancestors. It happened at the hands of your ancestors. And that's the heart of their frustration. And that is okay, man. It's not you. It's your fucking ancestors. You can make a difference. I have another friend. Actually, I'm going to just go ahead and let the cat out the bag. My producer, he traced his lineage back. He went and traced his lineage back and figured out that his last name is Yandel. He is in his family, they didn't own slaves. They were potato farmers. That's what they did, is they farmed potatoes. So it's not everybody, man. But people think it's everybody, and it's not, man. It's not. And I can tell, I can tell the way that some people were brought up. If you were brought up in a good family, then you have nothing to fucking worry about now, do you? You have nothing to worry about. If you brought up with the understanding that men are actually created equal in all this fucking slavery bullshit, and you were brought up through generations and generations through that, and that's who you are and you remain to this day, then fucking A right, man. Or even if your ancestors came up on some hard, you don't have to follow that legacy. You don't have to. But the uncomfortable conversations make people lean into it in a lot of cases. Their curiosity goes away, and their willingness to find truth and understanding, and their willingness to try and meet in the middle to try to squash differences, all that goes away, and it gives way to frustration. And that's just too much for me. It's really not, because I'll debate anybody any day of the week why it's necessary, and I don't give a fuck how uncomfortable it makes you. But it's too much for me, man, because it's important to me, and if I was important, then it would be important enough at least to hear. To anybody who feels like this is this type of language or these types of subjects are imposing on their lives. If you feel like that, that's just who you feel like, man, and that's okay. So, but for me, I need to know, man, and I don't care how it makes you feel. I don't care how it makes you feel that I want to support where I came from. Because like I said in my last podcast, white people unapologetically support their businesses. It's almost a thing. I don't think we should be any different. I think we should do exactly what they do. So I think that me tracing back my history, my lineage, even strengthens that resolve to go out and support Kiki, man. Buy one of her bags, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm going over here and getting a haircut from Jamal. Well, or either I'm gonna go and see Jamal's cigar shop. That's where I'm going. I'm gonna go there first. I'm going there before I go to the mainstream place downtown, because you know why? Mainstream dude is riding around with a cigar in his little cyber truck, looking down his nose at me, while we up in here talking about how much we love cigars and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to support Jamal in his cigar shop. You know what I'm saying? So Jamal could come up. You know what I'm saying? Because Jamal don't point his finger and look down on me. As a matter of fact, Jamal says, "Welcome, brother. Thank you for coming to have some cigars at my joint." You know what I'm saying? I don't smoke cigars or anything like that, but I've just used Jamal as just an example. But you get what I'm saying. So I need to know. And because I need to pass this information and try and encourage as many of us as I can to find this out for ourselves. Where are we fucking from? Where? So, like I was saying, I get on DNAweekly.com and I gave a rundown of some ancestry sites, and I'm going to go, like I said, I'm going to go with the African ancestry DNA test. And I think that based on what I've heard, the reviews, it's going to give me a pretty solid, solid picture of where my people are from. And I'm okay with that. I want that. I want that to happen. So I'm going to give it a shot. And once it happens, I'm going to let everybody know. Okay? So I can't front, man. I was real disappointed when I got the results of this DNA test back. But what it did is it made me it made my hunger stronger for connection and actual truth. And I called my dad and I told my dad, and I was disappointed because what I was trying to do is my dad, I wanted to do something nice for his birthday. It's coming up, and I wanted to trace back our roots. So I could let my father know, where we came from. Just where our family, why or how, whatever it is, whatever it's got to be. I wanted to do that for him, to trace back not just our cousin such and such over here on some ancestry, but some actual ancestry from our native continent of origin. And I thought that would be a good gesture. But like I said, I can't front. I was a little disappointed, but then I asked myself, why am I disappointed? Why am I disappointed? I'll tell you one of the reasons I was disappointed, because of, one of the ways, that it most likely happened, which was, servitude. Just let's get it out there. Just, but at the end of the day, I am who I am. Okay? I am who I am. I'm not going to be anybody else. It's not like I can get rid of that. I can't get rid of it. It's here. It's who I am. And it's who a lot of us in this country are. It really is. I mean, and it also, it's worth, in my opinion, it's worth a look back. It's worth a look back. And my producer has done some looking back for me, and he's going to, I guess, get some stuff together for me and help me put together a podcast, so maybe I can trace that part back too. I want to know. I just want to know. So I'm going to take another DNA test, you guys. So this is going to be an ongoing series with me, trying to trace back my roots to Africa, because, like I said, man, when people tell me to go back to Africa, go back to Africa. I don't get mad no more. I used to get mad and hurt and upset. I don't feel that anymore. I feel empowered when people say that. And as a matter of fact, I've started looking at it like that. And as a matter of fact, I've actually had some people say it positively. Man, you should go back just to see. I want to know what it's like. I should go with you, I've been told. Yeah, absolutely. Because they're excited too at the prospect. I mean, I got to tell you, my producer, European guy, probably more upset and disappointed about it than I was. And that's no bullshit. I mean, very somber, very upset, very we'll get to the bottom of this bullshit. And I appreciate you, brother. I really do, man. I appreciate you. I love you. I love you with every ounce of strength in my body, man. I really do. And thank you for riding with me on this journey, bro. I mean, I know that some of these things are hard for you as well because, hey, at the end of the day, you're a white guy, and regardless of the fact that, whatever the history may be, between our two races, it is what it is now today. And the fact that you stand, you would rather stand here with me on this side than with that history is just incredible to me, man. And I thank you every single day for that. I thank you for your friendship. I thank you for your brotherhood. And I really, really do, man. I do. I listen, we riding to the end, you feel me? So, and it's just, I don't want to hate people at the end of the day. I do not hate people. I hate the history of what has happened to people. And that is okay to do. That is okay to feel. I don't hate people, man. People all the time, you hate white people, man. You talk about white people a lot. Yeah, I fucking talk about the shit y'all do. I really do. If you do some shit, rest assured, Deron Harris is going to fucking talk about it. I'm just going to do it. Because I talk about the shit black people do. I talk about the shit Latin people do. I'm just going to talk about the shit y'all do. And if it makes you uncomfortable, here's a hint. Stop fucking doing it. Feel me? Feel me? You fucking feel me? I can't say it any plainer than that. Stop fucking doing the shit. That's all you got to do is stop fucking doing the shit. So, my next move forward is to, like I said, take another DNA test and continue to dig into this maze, this mystery, because that's exactly what all of us are going through. And I think all of us should really, lean into it. I mean, I'm a big proponent for this. I'm a big, super big advocate. Come on, y'all. I mean, Ancestry DNA. I can't recommend the test. As a matter of fact, I'm not even going to say the name. I can't recommend the test that I took for my African ancestry. You know what I'm saying? I can't do that. I can't recommend that test. But what I invite you to do is jump on DNAweekly.com and you search for the top DNA tests of 2025. That's what I did. The top DNA tests of 2025, and it spit back out 10 of them, 8 of them, like a good 8, 10 DNA sites. And they have different ones for health and all kind of shit, whether you suffer from certain chronic illnesses in the family, all kinds of stuff, while tracing back your lineage. So depending on what you want to find out about yourself, the information is out there via your DNA strand, but beware, because DNA companies, they have, fallen under scrutiny as of late because of, acquisitions and, places going bankrupt, and what are they going to do with your fucking DNA, et cetera, et cetera. So make sure you do your due diligence so you don't fall victim to the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? So, but I think that I am going to absolutely and 110% give Ancestry DNA a try, and I think everybody else out there should. And I'm going to, after Ancestry DNA, I'm going to take another one. And I'm going to take another one. And then I'm going to get a full picture whether a motherfucker likes it or not. If I got to take them all. You know what I'm saying? If I got to take them all. There's larger tests. The test that I took it gave 8 resolutions, which is an outdated test. Very, very low resolution, outdated test. But, DNA results are DNA results. And, hey, there it is. Whoop, there it is. But there are larger tests. And the higher the resolution test, the more detailed picture you will get. And that's what I'm looking for, the most detailed pictures. So that's what I'm working on, y'all. That's what I will be working on. That's what the Deron Harris movement is about. And I think that you should make this movement about yourself as well. If you are a Black American in this country, if you're a Black American whose family was, or whose lineage was disrupted by slavery, you should take this up. You should take this up. And you should put this at the highest top of your priority list. I mean, even young ones, even young folks, man, all you young heads out there, this should be on your first thing to do is find out. Find out. Let's connect, y'all. That's what it's about. We have to connect. Our winning is about connection. We are losing because we are not connected. Some of us are putting it together. A lot of us aren't. We have to get connected. Otherwise, we're going to get wiped out. Otherwise, we're going to get wiped the fuck out. And pretty soon, it's going to be like fucking us on a fucking reservation because there's so few of us. Because they are actively, the powers that be, are actively working against us. Can you feel it? I sure can. I can fucking feel it every day. Every day I walk out into society, I feel it growing. I feel people around here getting bolder and bolder. But I can also see people fighting. I can also see people of all ethnicities fighting. There's a guy, two guys, Walter Masterson, Walter Masterson or something like that, and the Jolly Good Ginger. And my also another friend, somebody that I follow is Ben the Curious. Oh, and Drinkable Brian. There's a few guys out here. There's a few guys that I have seen, that I watch, and I follow their content. They're all white guys, but they all advocate for y'all to stop that bullshit. That's really what they're doing. They're calling their own people out, and I fucking love every minute of it. Because they're not afraid, man, and they are unapologetic about it. I love it. Jolly Good Ginger called Lay white lady. White lady. What makes you feel white lady? What makes you feel, yo, hey, I love that he's able to put it to people like that because they can't challenge him. They can't challenge him because he is them. The only thing they can do is look in the mirror and see somebody that is like them challenging them. And what they believe and how they feel in their comfort zone, challenging them, making them push their own boundaries, gaining their own information, their own insight, educating themselves, and being fed up with the shit that's going on, that's being done in their names, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you motherfuckers are giving us a bad name, and I'm going to call you out for it. That's what they do. And I 100% applaud those people for doing that. I really do. But you have, man, so many more out there preaching hate and rhetoric and all kinds of shit. You got people, that own these platforms, that own the platforms that really kind of lean favor into, people preaching this ideology. My friend called me a separatist. But the real separatists are the people that are actively trying to separate us. And it's not me. I'm just following I'm just doing what I'm told. I'm doing what I feel, what I need to do, which is turn in and say, hey, y'all, we need to get ready because something wicked this way comes. You know what I'm saying? And my friend, unfortunately, he don't understand that. Because he thinks that everything is cool, that I'm over-exaggerating, that I need to stop talking about it, that the longer we talk about it, the more people just going to be upset about it. No, that's not it. The longer we talk about it, the more it's going to make motherfuckers not do it. The more it's going to make motherfuckers say we can't do it to these people. They're not going back to that. It doesn't matter what you call us, okay? I've seen some horrible shit on social media as of late about black people. And it's allowed to ride and fly. And you look at the like count and people, you look in the comments, and it's just fucking brutal. It's brutality, man. At the shit that they say about black people. at the shit that they say about black people. And I'm not saying, that they don't say bad shit about Latin people or Asian people. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not even saying they don't say bad shit about white people. But the shit that is said about black people is on another fucking level. It really is. And the worst part about it is it comes from every other ethnicity. Every other ethnicity has something horrible to say about black people. And the reason why is because they're following the suit of Europeanism. That's it. They're following that suit. The demonization of the people that they hate the most. That's all it is. They hate us the absolute most. We are the biggest threat to them. We represent their biggest threat, and that's why they hate us so bad. And it's hard for them to understand. It's hard for them to admit. But not for certain people. Not for certain people. Certain people, they understand the assignment. I'm just going to say it like that. They understand the assignment. They understand that telling their own people that you're full of shit is how we get out of this. Not talking about it. Not sweeping it under the rug. Oh, you got to stop talking about it. No. These men are actively talking about it. And that is how you get it to stop. You want to know how you get it to stop? And this goes, and I'll say this to my friend also. You want to know how you get it to stop? You stand your ass up and you actively talk about it. You actively talk about the shit that happens and the shit that happened, the shit that's going on. You actively talk about the injustices that you see done to black people without you thinking that, oh man, this is just because, black people don't stop it. Recognize it as an injustice. Recognize it as systemic. You need to learn to do that. A lot of people need to learn to do that. And some people have actually learned to do that. And those numbers are growing. And I want to tell those people out there like Drinkable Brian and Ben the Curious and the Jolly Good Ginger and Walter Masterson and all the rest of them out there that I appreciate y'all, man. I appreciate y'all because you guys are the front line. You guys are literally the front line in this war. And I'll tell you why, because you're sacrificing yourselves and your credibility with your own people for people that are not your people, to stand in solidarity with people that are not your people, man. And that takes a level of courage, a high level of courage to do. You know what I'm saying? A high level of, I'm tired of seeing this shit. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's just a good feeling to see that. You know what I mean? So here I am back at that crutch word shit. You know what I mean? Right back at that. Maybe I need to do another episode on crutch words and phrases because I don't know, maybe I've ramped it back up. You know what I mean? So I want to talk about this subject so much more. You know what I mean? It really does. I don't want to babble on. I really don't. And I'm gonna wrap this up. But I want to talk about this subject so much more because it really is a really deep subject, super fascinating to me. I really want to know. And the more I sat and read in after, like I said, after my wife's Latin, she became fucking super interested when it came back that I had Spanish lineage and also Portuguese lineage, but Spanish and Portuguese lineage. She wanted to crack it open, and she became a super sleuth and started digging in. And the more I found out about DNA, the more she found out about DNA, the more intrigued we got. So it's educational as well, y'all. Trying to find out about yourself will teach you some shit. No bullshit. So I invite y'all, man, to join me on this journey. Join me on this journey and let me know. Let me know, man. Like I said, the conversation don't have to stop right here. You can reach out to me at my social media. You can get on DeronHarris.com. That's DeronHarris.com, and you can leave me a message there. And let me know, man, what if you took the test and you got results What did you find? Were you surprised? Did you make any connections back to the motherland? What happened? I really would like to know that. So if you want to, I highly encourage people to reach out. Don't forget to like, follow, and all that other bullshit too. So until next time, folks, I think this is going to do it for this episode of the Deron Harris Podcast. I want to thank my parents for being the parents that they are. You know what I mean? I really do, man. And I'm going to find, and I promise, I'm going to keep looking until I find out where we from, y'all. I'm going to, because I want to know where my mom's from, and I want to know I want to know, where the fuck did we come from? I want to fucking know, man. I really do. My father ain't from Miami. My mom's not from St. Petersburg. Okay? I said it. We from Africa someplace. I want to know. I want to know. And for everybody who feels differently, to each their own. But for me and my family, I think it is the most important and the most beautiful thing to know where we originate. I want to thank my wife for being the absolute biggest fan and the biggest bulldog going after the information, because she really is. I mean, she puts the work in. She is putting the work in, helping me find and get to the bottom of this, because she's Afro-Latina, and it's something that's very personal to her as well. And like I said, after we're done with me, we're going to get down and find out where listen, I'm tracing her back too. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? Let's go. Let's trace our roots back, y'all. Let's find out, all of us. And anybody who has any Afro-Indigenous blood in them, anybody who has that blood, I invite you all to look at that part of who you are. Look at that part of who you are. You know what I'm saying? You'd be surprised and amazed at what you find. What you find. I want to thank my producer, man, for ride with me, bro. Also ride with me. Although blonde hair and blue-eyed has shouldered up the, Black Lives Matter cause, not that particular cause, but, I matter to him. I matter to him. You know what I'm saying? My happiness, my dreams, my aspirations, my well-being, all of this stuff matters to this man. Always has, ever since the day I met him. And we've been friends since we've been kids. Literally. So, thanks for riding with me, man. I hope I know we're going to get to the bottom of it. We're going to find out. We're going to get to the bottom of this shit. I absolutely 110% believe that we're going to find out where the fuck Deron Harris comes from. I want to thank Drency Thomas for giving me the platform. Thanks, G. I really do appreciate it, man. And I want to thank, last but not least, all of my listeners, all the people that have listened and don't listen anymore, and the people that haven't listened yet and will listen in the future. I want to thank everybody, but the people who have stuck with me and are on this journey with me, through my 3 seasons of podcasting, which I think it's probably time for a new season as I look at the at the episode count. I think it's probably time for a new season. So I think I might be coming back with the next season here shortly. But I want to thank y'all, man, for riding with me. And that's to everybody. It doesn't matter what ethnicity you are. If you're a black person or some white folks listening to me, or I don't give a fuck where you at, who you are. If you listen to me, you ride with me, you fuck with me, I ride with you and I fuck with you. You feel me? And that's how it goes. That's how it goes. If you ride with me and you fuck with me, then I ride with you and I fuck with you. None of this, and you can talk about, you could ask me anything. You could ask me anything you want to ask me. You know what I'm saying? If you got a problem with anything I've said, feel free to DM me and let me, D, you said this about this. Can you clarify? I'll be happy to do that. I will be happy to do that. But most of all, like I said, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for riding with me and being here through my growing pains, man, because it really is a work in progress. I am scatterbrained a lot, and I know sometimes people get turned off by some of the material I may talk about, and you talk to me, but there are some people, man, that hear me, man. They hear me, man, and I love y'all for that. So, all right, y'all. Until next week, I'm gonna go over here and hang out with my wife for a little bit. Try to figure out more information about the origins of Deron Harris. So until next week, y'all. Peace.
You've been listening to the Deron Harris Podcast. Subscribe to the show, give a good rating, and everything you need to know is at DeronHarris.com.